grief. January 2025. Here in Southern California, the Los Angeles area is on fire. There's loss. There's grief. So, let's talk about it. It is early January in 2025. I am here in the Los Angeles area, and the hills are burning. There are wildfires going on right now as I speak. Specifically, the Palisades fire is burning. It has burned the Palisades all the way out to the western edge, Malibu. Now, if you don't know the area, you might hear Pacific Palisades is where Hollywood elite celebrities, liberal leftists live. But just so you know, not everybody in Pacific Palisades is wealthy or some Hollywood elite or celebrity. There are regular working people like myself who do live in Pacific Palisades, just as they do in Beverly Hills. The one thing about natural disasters, whether it be earthquake, wildfires like we have here in Southern California, tsunami, typhoon, volcano eruption, hurricane, tornado, anything of natural disasters around this world we live on, the beautiful blue planet. It brings out the best and often the worst of humanity. The best part is when disaster strikes, there is an outpouring of people willing to help. For example, right here in Southern California, I just went to a local organization and there were literally over 100 people helping, volunteering, organizing, donating boxes and bags filled with everything the people affected need. Clothing, water, food, pet supplies, toiletries, sleeping bags, just about everything you could think of. People were donating because they wanted to help, as I did too. And also there are numerous nonprofit organizations that will help with pets. The government steps in and helps as much as they can. So this outpouring of humanity to support those who are affected by natural disasters is, to me, quite overwhelming, and it brings the tears to my eye. Then, of course, the worst of humanity, the blame. You can find numerous podcasts and news organizations and papers, whatever, social media, willing to point the blame at someone for this disaster that happened. And of course, many of them will tie it in with politics. But that doesn't help those who need help. Now, here's the thing also about natural disasters. They become the focus of a city, a county, a state, a country, the world when something happens. But as you know, it doesn't last. Think about the natural disasters that have occurred in the last year, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. How many do you recall right away? One that comes to mind for me was the fire on the Hawaiian island of Maui, simply because I spent time in Hawaii as a young boy, and I recently went back to Hawaii for a couple of times when my mother passed away, and I did a little tribute to her. Now, it might sound silly, but I took a little urn, her ashes, the one that I got after she passed away, and I took it to Hawaii, and I went around the city doing a little tour of the ashes. For example, places that we went to, or I went to with my mother at the time, like Leonard's Bakery, Ala Moana Shopping Center, Tahitian Village, Waikiki Beach, all those places I would take the urn, take a picture of it, and then put a little collage together. And then I ended it with burying the urn in the ocean. So here's what I did. I was staying at a hotel at Waikiki Beach. I won't say the name. And I swam out past the reef, and I found a nice little area amongst the reef that I could drop the urn and let it settle on the bottom in the reef, because Waikiki Beach holds such wonderful memories of myself and my mother. It's where I learned to surf. And when she would come down when I was surfing, and when it was time to go, she would wave a towel on the beach. And there was my mother waving a towel. And I go, okay, it's time to go in. It's time to go back to our house there on a Diamond Head Crater. Look, it's military housing. It wasn't a wealthy mansion. So I thought that would be a nice thing to do to remember my mother by, since I wasn't there when she passed away and I did not get a chance to say goodbye. And truthfully, I didn't grieve that much. I'm not sure why. Could have been the shock of it. I mean, I lost my father in 1991. I lost my mother-in-law, found her dead on Thanksgiving Day, 2018. I lost my younger brother in 2021 around the Christmas holiday. And I did not grieve. I didn't seek therapy. I just kept working at what I was doing. And just so you know I sound like I'm off track. It's my ADHD, but I'm going to keep myself on track as I do with my therapy. So let's come back to Hawaiian island of Maui. There was a fire that devastated a town there. And there was a huge outpouring of support for the community there who went through a tragic loss. And in this case, as with several, celebrities came out to pledge money. And these are big name celebrities donating millions and millions of dollars. And of course, there was negativity around that. And there was criticism around that. So it just goes to show you when something happens, people try to help, but they can often be criticized on social media. Again, the best and the worst of humanity. Now, as I was saying, like any natural disaster, how long does the attention last? How many of you remember the Maui fire? How many of you are still thinking about the Maui fire? How much news attention is still on the Maui fire? How much social media is still on the Maui fire? Not much. They're on to the next disaster. And just as this wildfire here in Southern California rages right now, people will soon forget about it. Unless, of course, you're the person who's been affected directly by this tragedy. And what I'm going to do now is wrap up this part and go to a part 2, because I want to connect grief and loss together and how it relates to all of us here in Club Grief. Stay tuned. See you next time.